The American road trip promises adventure, freedom, and the open road, a chance to discover the heart of a nation. For generations, it's been a symbol of possibility, a rite of passage, and a dream for many. The highways stretch endlessly, connecting bustling cities, quiet towns, and breathtaking landscapes, inviting us to explore what lies beyond the horizon. But there's a reality that travel brochures never show. Behind the glossy images of smiling tourists and picture-perfect destinations, there's another side to the American journey, one that's rarely talked about and even less often seen by those just passing through. Beyond the skylines and national parks, a hidden crisis unfolds. Homelessness, now woven into the fabric of every city and town. It's a reality that exists in the shadows of prosperity, quietly growing while most of us look the other way. Tent encampments under overpasses, families sleeping in cars, and veterans on street corners are no longer rare sights. These scenes, once unimaginable for many Americans, have become part of the everyday landscape, a stark reminder that the promise of security is not guaranteed for all. What was once isolated is now a national phenomenon, a silent epidemic visible coast to coast. From the sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles to the chilly avenues of New York, homelessness has become a thread that runs through the entire country, affecting communities large and small. The scale is staggering, challenging our assumptions about prosperity and security. For every gleaming skyscraper, there's a tent city in its shadow. For every thriving neighborhood, there's another struggling to provide basic shelter for its residents. Each city reveals the same story: loss, struggle, and a desperate search for stability. People from all walks of life find themselves on the brink, facing circumstances they never imagined. Their stories are as diverse as America itself, yet united by a common thread of hardship and hope. This isn't about blame or easy answers. It's about seeing the truth behind the postcard images. It's about acknowledging the people and the pain that exist just out of frame, and understanding that this crisis affects us all, whether we realize it or not. We'll explore the statistics, the stories, and the emotional weight of this crisis. We'll hear firsthand from those living it and from the advocates and communities working tirelessly to make a difference. The numbers are staggering, but the human stories behind them are even more powerful. This journey matters because it's about the people we share this land with. It's about compassion, understanding, and the belief that everyone deserves a place to call home. As we travel across America, let's look beyond the surface and open our eyes to the hidden crisis, and the hope that together we can create change. To truly grasp the scale of the homelessness crisis in America, we must begin by looking at the numbers. The statistics are not just figures on a chart. They represent real people, real families, and real struggles. Over the past decade, the number of people experiencing homelessness has steadily increased, reaching levels that are both alarming and heartbreaking. Homelessness in America has surged to record highs. On any given night, hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children are without a safe place to call home. The sight of tents lining city sidewalks and people sleeping in doorways has become all too common in cities across the nation. To put this into perspective, the number of people experiencing homelessness is greater than the entire population of some major American cities. Imagine an entire city's worth of people living without stable shelter, facing uncertainty every single day. What's even more startling is that families with children are now the fastest growing segment of the homeless population. Many of these families include parents who are working, sometimes holding down multiple jobs, yet still cannot afford the rising cost of rent and basic necessities. For the first time in recent history, more people are living unsheltered, sleeping outdoors, under bridges, or in cars, than are staying in shelters. Our support systems, already stretched thin, are struggling to keep up with the overwhelming need. Shelters are filled to capacity, resources are limited, and many individuals and families are left to fend for themselves on the streets. Volunteers and community organizations do what they can, but the demand far exceeds the available help. These aren't just statistics or distant problems. They are urgent calls to action. Each face in the crowd, each story of hardship, is a reminder that homelessness affects real people in our communities. Homelessness is not a fringe issue or a problem confined to a few cities. It is a growing systemic crisis that touches every corner of our nation. The headlines and encampments are evidence of a deeper issue that demands our attention. Behind every statistic is a person with hopes, dreams, and the right to dignity, security, and hope for a better future. Addressing homelessness means recognizing our shared humanity and working together to create lasting solutions. Traveling across America today means witnessing stark contrasts. Gleaming downtowns stand blocks from sprawling tent encampments. In cities like Denver and Portland, parks have become makeshift communities. In the Midwest and Northeast, homelessness is less visible but just as severe. People sleep in laundromats, transit stations, or cars. Even small towns and rural areas now face this crisis. These scenes challenge our perceptions and become impossible to ignore. The beauty of the landscape is shadowed by the reality of growing inequality. Behind every tent is a human story, a story of resilience, hardship, and hope. Each makeshift shelter, whether on a busy sidewalk or tucked beneath a bridge, holds the memories and dreams of someone who once had a place to call home. These are not just structures of fabric and poles, but symbols of lives interrupted and journeys altered by circumstances beyond control. Take James, for example. He spent decades as a skilled mechanic, fixing engines and helping neighbors. But after a sudden illness drained his savings and cost him his job, he found himself with nowhere to go. Now, the park bench is his bed, and his backpack holds all he owns. Yet James still greets each day with quiet dignity, holding on to the hope that things can change. Then there's Maria, a devoted mother of two. She works full-time at a local grocery store, but when her rent doubled overnight, her paycheck couldn't keep up. Forced to choose between food and shelter, she now lives in her car with her children, parking in safe spots and doing her best to shield them from fear and uncertainty. Maria tries to keep life as normal as possible for her kids, telling them they're on an adventure, camping under the city lights. She reads bedtime stories by flashlight and makes sure they have snacks and warm blankets, determined to protect their innocence despite the challenges. Michael, a veteran, faces a different battle. After serving his country, he returned home to face invisible wounds, trauma, and memories that haunt him. The system meant to support him fell short, leaving him to navigate the streets alone. All he wants is a safe place to rest and a sense of peace that has long eluded him. These stories are not isolated. They echo across the country. Job loss, unexpected medical bills, soaring rents, and mental health struggles push more people to the brink every day. The line at the food bank grows longer, and shelters fill up faster than ever before. These stories reveal how quickly life can change and how anyone, regardless of background or circumstance, can fall through the cracks. It's a reminder that security is fragile and compassion is needed now more than ever. These are not distant tales or statistics. They are the stories of our neighbors, people we pass every day on our way to work or school. Their struggles are woven into the fabric of our communities. Listening to these voices is the first step toward understanding and compassion. When we take the time to hear their stories, we begin to see the humanity behind the hardship. Their voices remind us that homelessness can happen to anyone. By opening our hearts and minds, we can help build a world where everyone has a chance to survive and to thrive. The rise in homelessness is no accident. It's the result of economic and social forces colliding. Rents have soared far beyond wages, making housing unaffordable for millions. Stable, well-paying jobs have disappeared, replaced by gig work and low-wage service jobs. A single unexpected expense can push families over the edge. Cuts to public housing, mental health, and addiction services leave the vulnerable with nowhere to turn. Recent economic shocks and inflation have only made things worse, creating a crisis of historic proportions. Homelessness ripples through every community. Businesses struggle, public spaces are strained, and tensions rise. Most public spending is reactive. Emergency services cost more than providing stable housing. We all pay the price for a system that manages, rather than solves, homelessness. The visible crisis erodes our sense of community and empathy. It teaches us to look away, normalizing suffering. Yet, across the country, ordinary people are stepping up, volunteering, donating, and offering kindness. These acts of compassion show our capacity for good. Together, we can be part of the solution. The greatest burden of homelessness is emotional. It's the stress of not knowing where you'll sleep, the fear for your safety, and the loss of dignity and identity. Homelessness strips people of their individuality. They become invisible. For society, it's a moral injury, a quiet discomfort that lingers when we look away. We can let this numb us, or let it open our hearts. Compassion can move us from passive observers to active participants. The emotional weight is heavy, but it can be a catalyst for change. We must choose empathy over indifference. What can we do? The solution starts with caring. Small acts matter. Eye contact, a smile, a granola bar, or volunteering at a shelter. These gestures affirm our shared humanity. We must also use our voices, educate ourselves, challenge myths, and advocate for real solutions. Demand affordable housing, mental health care, and living wages. Our collective action can drive systemic change. The well-being of the most vulnerable reflects on us all. Let this journey inspire you to act, not just observe. Our journey through America's homelessness crisis is difficult, but it reveals our capacity for empathy and action. The road ahead is long, but we can't look away. The stories and statistics will keep changing. It's up to us to stay engaged. Let this be the start of your own journey to help in big and small ways. Thank you for walking this path, for listening, and for caring. Your attention is the first step toward change. Together we can transform concern into action and hope. Let's keep walking this path toward a future where everyone has a place to call home.